All right, let's talk about one of the most confusing, frustrating topics out there, fat loss. Today, we're going to cut through all the noise, bust the myths, and get right to the science. So if you've ever felt totally stuck or just overwhelmed by all the crazy advice, you are in the right place. Let's get into it.
I mean, this has to be one of the most asked questions in fitness, right? Why won't this fat just go away? You feel like you're doing everything you're supposed to, you're trying to eat right, you're exercising, but that stubborn bit just hangs on. It is incredibly frustrating. Well, today we're going to figure out why that happens and what science says you can actually do about it.
But hey, before we can talk about how to lose it, we've got to understand what we're up against. So let's start with the basics. What even is body fat?
At its heart, body fat is actually pretty simple. It's just stored energy. When we eat food, our body uses what it needs for fuel right away. But any extra energy, it gets packed away into our fat cells to be used later on. It's a pretty brilliant survival tool when you think about it.
So, fat builds up when we take in more energy than our body burns off. Simple enough. But here's the kicker. Where your body decides to store that fat isn't really up to you. It's heavily influenced by things you can't control, like your genetics, your sex, men tend to store it around the belly, while women often store it on the hips and thighs, and of course, your age.
And get this, not all fat is created equal. Nope, we basically got two main types. Over on the left, you've got subcutaneous fat. That's the stuff right under your skin, the kind you can actually pinch. It might bug you in the mirror, but health-wise, it's not the biggest deal. The real bad guy is on the right, visceral fat. This is the deep internal fat that wraps around your organs. You can't see it or touch it, but having a lot of it is seriously dangerous and is linked to things like heart disease and diabetes.
Okay, so now that we know what fat is, let's demolish the single biggest myth in the entire fitness industry, this idea of spot reduction.
Come on, we've all thought it. If I just do 1,000,000 crunches, my belly fat will melt away. Or, I'll do leg lifts all day to get rid of the fat on my thighs. It kind of makes logical sense, right? Work the muscle, burn the fat there. But I'm telling you, the science is crystal clear. It's a total myth.
So here's the hard truth, the one nobody wants to hear. You cannot choose where you lose fat. It's impossible. When your body needs to burn fat for energy, it pulls it from all over your body, from a general savings account, not just from the muscle you happen to be working out. Fat loss is a whole body thing.
And don't just take my word for it. Experts like Dr. Do Thi Ngoc D put it perfectly. The only way that actually works is to reduce the energy coming in and increase the energy going out. That's it. That's the secret. It's that simple. And yeah, that challenging.
And it's this exact myth that has fueled a multi-billion-dollar industry of products promising a shortcut. So let's talk about all those gadgets, gels, and absolute gimmicks.
You've seen the ads, I know you have. Those vibrating belts that are supposed to jiggle the fat away. Creams that claim to literally melt fat on contact. Special massages, wraps, pills, the list goes on and on. They all prey on our desire for that quick, easy fix. But let's just be real, the science is clear. They do not work for actual, permanent fat loss.
But hold on, I can hear you thinking, wait a minute, my friend used one of those body wraps and their waist definitely looks smaller. And you know what? That's a fair question. Why do these things sometimes create the illusion that they're working?
All right, here's the secret. It's not some magic fat-destroying ingredient. It's just water. Dehydration, to be exact. These products make you sweat a lot in one specific area, which causes temporary water loss right there. Your skin might feel tighter for a little while, but you haven't lost a single ounce of actual fat. And as Dr. Nguyen Hue Duc puts it so clearly, there is simply no cream out there that can seep through your skin and just dissolve the fat cells underneath. The second you rehydrate and drink a glass of water, that little slimming effect, poof, it's gone.
So, if the myths are busted and the gimmicks are just a waste of money, what's left? What actually works? Well, it all comes down to one simple, undeniable, scientific formula.
This right here. This is the whole game. This is the golden rule. Fat loss only, and I mean only, happens when your energy in is less than your energy out. It's a fundamental law of thermodynamics. There are no pills, no creams, no vibrating belts that can cheat this equation.
So, to lose that stubborn fat, whether it's on your belly, your thighs, your arms, wherever, you have to create a consistent energy deficit. It's not about one magic food or one killer workout. It's about this overall energy balance, day after day. This is the only way it works. Period.
Now, knowing the formula is great,
But putting it into practice is what really matters. So let's turn all this science into a simple 2-part action plan you can start using today.
Okay, part 1 is all about getting energy in under control. And honestly, the most powerful thing you can do is cut back on sugar. That means the obvious stuff like sodas and desserts, but also those simple starches. Think white rice, white bread, because your body turns them into sugar almost instantly. It's even a good idea to just be mindful of how much high-sugar fruit you're eating.
Part 2, let's crank up the energy out. And when it comes to burning calories, cardio is king. We're talking about endurance activities like running, swimming, or cycling. Even a really brisk walk is fantastic. But listen, the most important thing here isn't how intensely you exercise, it's how consistent you are. A steady, consistent effort is what really burns through those energy reserves over time.
And as you're doing this, please remember this one critical point. Your goal is to lose fat, not just to see the number on the scale go down. Anyone can lose a few pounds of water weight with some gimmick. What we're after is reducing actual body fat, because that's what improves your health and really changes how you look and feel.
Here's a perfect example. You can go sit in the sauna, sweat your butt off, and step on the scale and see that you've lost 2 kilos. Awesome, right? But is it fat? Nope, not one bit. It's just water. And the moment you have a drink, guess what? That weight comes right back on. Real fat loss is slower, for sure, but it's permanent.
So there you have it. You're now armed with the real science of fat loss. You know the myths to ignore, and you know the simple formula that actually gets results. The power is truly in your hands now. The only question left is, what's your first step going to be?